Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another teachable moment on the Educational AD podcast. We'll be right back with Dr. Troy, but we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. You've heard me say many, many times, these are companies that I used as an athletic director. In many cases, use their product every single day. So will you. So don't hit that fast forward button. Listen to our shout outs, take 3 minutes, and then go and visit these sponsors and add them to your network. You'll be glad you did. Here we go. We might have had some audio tech difficulties there. So, again, we appreciate you listening, but stay tuned for these sponsor shout outs. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle for their support of the podcast. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that let them coach our kids up to their highest level. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, more customization. Hometown Team will help you make the best online ticketing solution. hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thanks to Gipper, the official social media graphics solution for us. If you go to Gipper.com, their team will help you create world-class content for your school's social media channel. It's going to help you celebrate your teams and promote your athletes. Gipper is used and trusted by over 3,000 high school and college programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made simple. Go to Gipper.com. Mention the podcast. You'll get a nice discount. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule a live web demo to see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Their products not only generate income for your department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We want to say thanks to Home Campus, the official and the exclusive high school and state association management platform for us. It's also your one-stop platform for things you do every single day, like scheduling, student athlete eligibility and clearance, communicating with coaches, kids, parents, your state association. If you're an athletic director, Home Campus will help you do your job better. And all you have to do to get started is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to show off your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply tell your school's most compelling stories. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic surveys are a quick, easy, and an affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data about your student athletes, your coaches, your parents, and what they think about your program. Athletic directors already hear from the complainers. Athletic surveys will connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% that supports your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent or your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that'll let you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. And we want to thank Snap Raise. If you're doing a fundraiser and you're frustrated with the lack of results, go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraising platform out there. It works. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. And you're going to love it too. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out all their other platforms. But if you're doing a fundraiser, and I know you are, SnapRaise is the platform you should be using. Go to snapraise.com to get started. Welcome back, everyone, to another teachable moment on the Educational AD podcast. We do these every week, and our guest is Dr. Mekia Troy. She is a certified master athletic administrator, longtime athletic director at Creekside High School in Georgia, also very active at the state and the national level. Dr. Troy, we are on episode number 27. So we are, working our way toward, our final episode, which would be number 30. It's been a great series so far. I know you've got some great content today. What are you going to share with our listeners?
Thanks for having me again. Today, I want to speak a little bit about our supervisors and the role that they play in the relationships that we have with them, whether it's your principal, headmaster, superintendent. We're having to deal with these folks on a regular basis. So that relationship needs to be strong and try to see eye to eye as much as possible for the benefit of our student athletes, because they're their students as well. So we all have their best interests at heart at the end of the day, even when we don't agree. The most important thing is the students, and we need to focus on that. When you've been at a place as long as I have, you're bound to run into multiple different leaders. And in my first 4 years as an AD, I had 5 different principals. It was something. I've had 2 more since then. So I've had to learn to work with different leadership styles, different types of leaders, some that were really gung-ho about athletics, some that weren't as involved with athletics. But at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that our students have a great experience. So if that means having to really work with your supervisors to get to the point that you're aligning your ideas, that matters the most. The same way you have a vision for your athletic department, your supervisor is going to have a vision for the organization as a whole. So it's best to find a way that those two can align so that you can be most successful. Of course, we want educational athletics to be valued and respected in our schools by the leadership. We do, but we have a role in making that so. We are an extension of the classroom. I often say that athletics is the last class of the day. So the mission and the vision of the school doesn't end with the final bell. We still have a role in making sure that we are pushing the school's mission and vision even through our athletic departments. Not saying that you can't have your own mission and vision for your athletic departments too, but there should be some alignment in some of the things that we say to just allow some reinforcement to make sure we're all speaking the same language. So what can be done in your athletic department to influence that continuous improvement of the school? These are questions that you can ask your supervisors to find out what way can we support you. In turn, we know we look for support from them, but how can we support the overall goals of the school by what it is that we do in the positions that we hold? And I think they'd appreciate that when you present it that way, instead of just assuming that, the leader doesn't really care about sports or they weren't an athlete or that kind of thing. Just find out how you can support them in their goals for the school through what we do as leaders. It can't be something that we just assume that, oh yeah, our student athletes, they work hard and they get the benefit of participating in athletics. And there's so many benefits you get. It's not enough to just assume. We need to be intentional enough to know what's going on and to be able to share that with other people and use the actual language so that it makes sense to those that are outside of athletics, particularly our supervisors, so they understand the value of what we do. In athletics, we directly impact the attendance data. Data is a big word for our supervisors. So we need to show how we can help them in that area. Athletes, they come to school, they want to play, they got to be at school. So we're going to impact your attendance data. Also perception data, the experiences our student athletes have that they enjoy and the overall impact we have on the culture of the school is going to influence perception data. And we as athletic administrators need to be able to share that when we're speaking with our supervisors and others inside of education that may not have a true understanding or grasp of what we do, or might not have had those experiences that we've had where we clearly know that we benefit the whole child. So that comes to us to be more intentional about those things. I think that they would appreciate hearing that from the standpoint where it sounds like what they would already be addressing, even though we know that maybe it's a little different when we're outside between the lines speaking, but it's the same message. So that makes a difference. It's our way of showing that we are more than just extracurricular, we are co-curricular, but we need to show what that means to them because they really might not know. They might not know. So as more and more of our schools throughout the country are focused on college and career readiness, it's our job to show that we have a role in preparing the whole student for whatever their next step is after high school.
Again, the points that you bring up, for people like you and I, we've been around the business for a while. They're kind of, I guess, maybe should be obvious, if you will. But
Mhm.
for so many ADs, young and veteran, it seems like this is a lesson that they missed out on. And I don't know how it happened. Obviously, somebody taught me at a young age. I didn't figure this out on my own. I'm not that smart, but building that relationship with your boss, okay? And as you said, it could be principal, could be a head of school like I had at a private school. Um,
Mhm.
you can do things as an AD to nurture that relationship and make it more productive. One of the easiest is just keeping them in the loop.
Right.
Letting them know about the games, give them a weekly schedule, invite them. Hey, Sally's going to be scoring her 1,000th point, Wednesday night. Be a great photo op for you at the game.
Yes.
And that might be the first game they come to all year. But just little things like that can go a long, long way in like we said, nurturing that relationship. What's a little tip that you picked up along the way that again, it probably seems obvious now, but back then it was like, oh my goodness, this is a great idea.
Yeah, I think one is finding out what works best for that supervisor. As I mentioned, I've had several. Um, some wanted weekly check-in meetings that were like on the calendar. Some were more casual, just stop by the office and have a chat. Um, some want you to get on the calendar so that they can make sure it fits into their schedule, which is fine. But finding out what works best for them. Um, I mean, it's athletics. We're used to being flexible. We know how to make these adjustments. So if we have to make the adjustment to be flexible for them, then I think we should be I hate to say bigger person, but we should be the one to take that initiative to adjust to them because they are in charge ultimately. So we want to make sure that yeah, we want to be successful. So if that means having to adjust to be flexible to how we are accustomed to doing things to make sure that our bosses know what's going on, then I think we should do that.
Yeah, I always wanted to, once I figured out the value, I always wanted to have that scheduled meeting, even if it was just once a month. Usually it was
Mhm.
more frequent, sometimes weekly.
Right,
But just to keep them in the loop, because again, scheduling, somebody, the drama department, they would come up with this great idea and they're going to do this and it's a big event. But nobody told the athletic department that, they want to use the gym for 3 straight days and nights in the middle of basketball season. So,
right.
just having that communication open, so very valuable. Great stuff, great
Mhm.
tools. Okay. Mekia, once again, if one of our listeners, if they haven't done it already, they should, but if they want to reach out, add you to their network or just, pick your brain a little bit, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, reach out, email drtroyme@gmail.com or on Twitter, same handle, Dr. Troy me. Reach out. Love to chat, pick other people's brains as well.
Oh yeah, build that network. Absolutely. Well, thanks again for sharing. I say this every week because it's true. You are incredibly busy with all the activities at your school, but we appreciate you spending some time with our listeners. And all the best as we move toward, getting closer, the end of the 2024 school year.
Thanks so much.
For our listeners, you've heard me say this too. We do this every week and we upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, we appreciate you listening, but we want to invite you to come back next week for another great teachable moment and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Before we go, as always, we want to acknowledge our sponsors one more time. Now, I really encourage you to visit these sponsors if you're not already using them. These are companies that I used as an athletic director, and I have no problem recommending them to you. They are great. First of all, I want to thank Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to get started. We want to thank Athletic Surveys. At my school, we use surveys for just about everything, and the information that comes back is just so very valuable. Almost always, it's over the top positive, and it's something you can share with that squeaky wheel parent that, hey, this is what the rest of our athletic family thinks. Athleticsurveys.com. We want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper's the official social media graphics solution. What that means is they're going to help you create world-class content to promote your athletes and your teams. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We want to thank Home Campus. Now, I used Home Campus every single day as an athletic director for things like scheduling, communicating with parents and kids and coaches, our state association, dealing with student athlete eligibility and clearance forms, signature uploads and forms. You name it, Home Campus does it. Go to homecampus.com to get started. We want to thank SnapRaise. I know you're doing a fundraiser, and if you're not using SnapRaise, you're not using the #1 online fundraising platform. We used it at our school, tremendous success. It works. Go to snapraise.com to get signed up. We want to thank Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle. As an athletic director, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com for more information. We want to thank vitalsignswalloffame.com. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. vitalsignswalloffame.com. And finally, Hometown Ticketing. Hometown is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Go to hometownticketing.com to get started. Thanks again for listening to this segment of Teachable Moment. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.